Shalom, Shalom, Israel. Back again with another lesson from your boy Tribal Judah 144. Real quick, the Spirit was on me this morning to do a breakdown on the ordinances of the Most High. And we're going to jump to the book of Romans today um, because I've been seeing a lot of videos out there of people being, whether it's ignorance, whether it's foolishness, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of people on social media that's bucking up against the system, what they call systematically being oppressed by the system, police brutality, and all this stuff. So I thought that it would be good to spread the word to the flock, to the lost sheep out there, to gain some understanding about what's going on in these latter days, because judgment is being passed through all four corners of the earth. But it's that same judgment that you have to understand. It's meant to be passed out because a lot of people don't understand the scriptures, and a lot of people think that everything that goes wrong in their life is that, there's no, what they say, oh, there's no God, because if there was a God, why don't he be letting this happen, or why do he be letting that happen? And that's because that's foolish talk, because they have no understanding of the scriptures. So, Lord willing, you guys are edified through this lesson today. Um, and before we start, as always, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. And want to say peace and salutations to the elect and the one third spread across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the elders and the apostles spreading this truth in all sincerity, feeding the flock of the lost sheep. So, without further ado, we're going to jump to Romans, the 13th chapter. And this is one of my favorite chapters in Romans because it gives a breakdown on what we should be doing prior to the laws of the land. But here you have a lot of Israelite, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who may have been brought up in the so-called Christian church, whether you're Orthodox, whether you are Baptist, Jehovah Witness, whatever the case may be. This is something that they don't stress enough in the church when they're teaching. And so hopefully I can shed some light and give, everybody out there who's really searching for the truth some rest to what's really going on out here in the world, so that you are able to walk through the light, through the armor of the Most High and the Son Yahweh Shai. So this is the book of Romans chapter 13. We're going to start at verse 1. It says, "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High." So what is that saying? It's saying whatever the Most High has ordained or set that person up on the earth to be of a higher power, you have to be subject unto the higher power. What does it mean to be subject unto the higher power? It basically means to do everything according to their will. And if you don't do everything according to their will, there's going to be a judgment. Okay? Now, before you say anything, let's just see what the scriptures have to say. And I'm going to precept to show you guys, to give you a better understanding, because I know any one of y'all that's watching this right now is going to buck up and say, well, I don't do all of that. I don't follow. I don't let anybody tell me what I'm going to do, what I got to do. And that's not true, because even you don't have no control over your life, because your goings are not of your own, but of the Most High. And I'll get a precept for that. And I'll prove that to you through the book of Proverbs, chapter 20, Salakia, verse 3. No, sorry. Salakia. Verse 24. Man's goings are of the Most High, Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? Plain and simple. So what you think you may know and what you think you may be doing with your life doesn't come from you. It comes from the Most High. He's the author of your story. Plain and simple. But not to digress, let's get back on the topic at hand. So, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. Who are your higher powers? Your higher powers can be mainly the government that governs the body of the nation of people. And then through the government, they have certain ranks that trickle down, sort of like a hierarchy. So you have the government, then you may have the elect councils of certain cities. Then you may have the mayors, okay, and so forth. And then from the mayors, you may have the police department who issues out those orders and fines and all of that stuff like that, basically upholding the law. Now, verse 2 says here, whosoever therefore resisted the power resisted the ordinances of the Most High. So if you resist the power structure or where you live or where you may be in the world, you're resisting the ordinances of the Most High because He's the one that ordained it. Okay? Israel, Yasharallah, understand something. We are not in our kingdom yet. We are still in our captivity. Okay? Whether you are in the Americas, whether you are in Australia, whether you are in Asia Minor, Russia, okay, Middle East, Africa, Europe, you are not in the Holy Land. Therefore, you're still living amongst the heathens and you're subject to their ordinances because they have been set up with the blessing to rule over us. Okay? Y'all need to really understand that. Y'all don't understand it, and that's why y'all bucking up, and that's why judgment is happening to you because you don't understand these scriptures. Okay? Let's read verse 2 again. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinances of the Most High, and they that resist shall receive them to themselves damnation. Okay, so if you keep bucking up at the system, let me give you an example. If during, like we have this COVID-19 pandemic going on, you have certain countries that have implemented certain laws and regulations to follow so that they can try to save the people, so they claim, okay, allegedly. Now, they may pass a law to say you have to wear a face mask when you enter and out of your home, okay? Slot. You have a lot of people out there that don't agree with that. But that's not for you to agree with. Now, you may have your knowledge to what face masks really do and what they protect. And then you may understand a little bit of background digging on what they don't protect. And that's fine. You hold that information. However, when you come across other individuals out there, you have to walk what's called circumspectively, because even though you may have the knowledge and they don't, that doesn't mean that you're going to make an ass out of yourself and talking about, no, I have rights, I can do that. No. Because again, Salak, you're not walking in the ordinances of the Most High. The Most High didn't ordain you to be in charge and to tell the people that, because this is not our rest. Okay, let's get a precept. Let's go to the book of Titus, chapter 3, verse 1. It says here, put them in mind to be subject to the principalities and the powers, to obey magistrates, to be ready to every good work. What does that mean? Be subject to the higher powers. Goes back to Romans 13, verse 1. And to obey the magistrates. What's the magistrates? That's your, like I said, government bodies, the court system, all of that stuff. Okay? Because there's a reason. Let's get back to that reason. Verse 3. Romans chapter 13, verse 3. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Okay? What does that mean? The rulers, the people who are ruling the planet right now, they don't follow in the ways of the Most High. They wasn't set up that way. Okay? The Most High has given them their blessings to punish the children of Israel for us going off. So right now, they're the ones that's ruling, and we have to be subject unto their kingdom for right now. Okay? They are not a ruler for the good works, but rather to do evil. As per Job, chapter 24, verse 9 tells you the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. The earth was given into the hands of the wicked. Okay? It says here, wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. So, if you have a certain ruling government body that's overpowering you, and you have to be subject to the laws of the land, you have to be in their system. If you own a house, you have to pay mortgage. If you're renting, you have to pay your rent. Okay? If you have gas and electricity, that has to be paid. If you have a tax levy, that has to be paid. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Okay? Everything that goes on. If you go down into the city or downtown and you have to park your car, but there's a parking meter, you have to pay. Those is what's called um, tribute and customs because they have a tax levy that has to be paid. That's what it means to be subject unto the higher powers. Okay, and we'll get into that, and I'll show you more of that. Do that which is good. So meaning, do what's required of you to do, and thou shalt have praise of the same. So your praise can come from you if the Most High is seeing that you're not bucking up against the system and that you're doing and you're subjecting yourself unto the higher power, you're going to get praise for it. Verse 4. For he is the minister of the Most High to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, pay attention. All you so-called Israelites out there that bucking up, know that you're an Israelite, but you keep going against the grain because you haven't you're unlearned. Okay? But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of the Most High, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Now, that brings me back to me saying earlier, all these police killings, all of these police people, that's going into people's houses, and I've seen videos of them snatching women that's pregnant, without cause, thrashing people in the street and all this stuff. Let me tell you something. Don't look at them impeding them and say, "Oh, that's wrong" and everything, because you don't know what is going on in their life. You don't know what they did for that sort of judgment to come upon them. Because the scriptures tell you who perish being innocent. Nobody has passed away being innocent. Nobody. And when you see people that get pulled over, thrust, and everything, yeah, sometimes it's wrong. In the sense of, and let me rephrase that because I don't want to make anybody upset with the words that I'm saying, so I'm choosing what I'm saying carefully. But let me explain. Yes, you have individuals out there who go out there and they do the wrong thing, maybe unto innocent people. But like I said, innocent ain't always innocent. Okay, and based off what the scriptures tells us, if you're doing the right thing, those sort of things won't come upon you. So if a person was to get pulled over and then everything went okay to the point where that cop or whatever who pulled them over didn't do anything uh, to provoke anger and didn't do anything that was outside his jurisdiction, and that person later was able to walk free, the Most High was with that person. That person might have been following the ordinances of the Most High. That's why the Most High allowed for that situation to walk away peacefully. Now you're gonna have situations where that police officer may end up um, killing that person or doing something such as a horrendous type of act of that's not of humane of this world. Something that's so vicious that his social media is like, damn, like did you really have to do that? Like, man, that's sad. Now you know that it could possibly be that that person who got the wrong end of the stick, you know, was sinning. Okay, and we're going to get into that, and I'm going to show you why these sort of things come upon these people on the earth, because it ain't just because, like, you have to understand what we see on a video, we see in that defining moment. We don't know these people, we don't know their backstory, we don't know if they've been going off, we don't know if they sin. But when you understand these scriptures, you understand, right? So I'm going to read verse 4 again. For he is the minister of the Most High to do thee for good, but if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. For he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of the Most High, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Now, let's jump over, show you guys something. Um, let's go to First Peter chapter 2. I think it was. Let's see. It's a lot. Give me a second. Actually, you know what? It's a lot. Let's go to, because I want to go and make this as plain Let's go to Ecclesiastes 8, and we're going to start at verse 2. Okay, this is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, verse 2. I counsel thee to keep the king's commandment, and that in regard of the oath of the Most High. Verse 3. Be not hasty to go out of his sight, stand not in an evil thing, for he doeth whatsoever pleaseth him. So, going back to Romans 13, it said, let all souls be subject unto the higher powers. Well, it's telling you here in Ecclesiastes that the king, right, will be that higher power, but it tells you in verse 2, I counsel thee to keep the king's commandments. Now, what is the king's commandments? Let's bring that to today's world. Who is the kings? The kings are the government ruling bodies of the world. Okay? Now, replace king with government. Okay? I counsel thee, verse 2, I counsel thee to keep the government's commandment, and that in regard of the oath of the Most High. Now, verse 3, be not hasty to go out of his sight. Whose sight? The government's. Stand not in the evil thing, for he doeth whatsoever pleaseth him. Now, what does the government have the power to do? The government has the power to issue out laws, sanctions, fines, jail time, everything, right? He's going to do whatsoever pleases him to do. Verse 4, where the word of a king, or in this case, where the word of a government or ruling power is, there is power. So whoever is running the show, there is power. And and who may say unto him, or that power, what doest thou? Verse 5, whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing. And a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. You understand? So now, let me break that down for you. If you keep the commandments, you won't feel no evil thing. So what did Romans 13 chapter teaches? It said, be subject unto the higher powers. If you follow what the Most High has already ordained, what he has put in power to do, no evil thing is going to come against you. And a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. Why? Because when you're discerning time and judgment, you're walking circumspectly, understanding that, okay, this is the times that we're living in. I'm seeing a lot of evil things come amidst this earth, so I need to be able to go look at myself as an individual and make sure that I'm doing the right thing, making sure that I'm doing what pleases the Most High, so that I don't get the wrong end of the stick and the Most High comes and pays a visitation onto me for my sins. That's what this is talking about, okay? And we're going to get into it a little bit deeper, but I don't want to make this video too long. Verse 6, because to every purpose there is a time and judgment. Therefore, the misery of man is great upon him. Right. Because if you understand this truth, you understand that every little thing that you do, if it goes outside the Most High's commandments, there's no other way to say it, but time is ticking when he comes and pays, a visitation down on the earth to come in and visit you for what you've been doing. Okay. Because don't no man or woman, for that matter, know when their time is up. Okay, verse 7. For he knoweth not that which shall be, for who can tell him when it shall be? Verse 8. Slot. There is no man that hath power over the spirit to retain the spirit, neither hath he power in the day of death. So we don't have power over our bodies to know when we're going to stay alive and when we're going to die. And there is no discharge in that war, neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it. Okay, now, verse 11, here's the point, here's the meat. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, meaning when somebody does evilness, right, and their judgment is not executed on them, meaning there's nothing that revengeth them for what they did, has come upon them quickly and swiftly. Listen to this. Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. So this explains why you have people out there that's bucking up against the system, and they're seeing that they're getting away with murder, they're getting away with doing things that goes against, the laws of the land, they're going to feel like they're on top because judgment hasn't come upon them as quickly. So then they get complacent, or not so much complacent, but they feel as though, well, nothing has happened to me yet, so I'm going to continue to go out and keep doing this because I'm not getting caught. And the scriptures is saying to you, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. So they're going to continue to do evil. They're going to continue to keep bucking up against the system. But watch this. Verse 12. Though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear the Most High, which fear before him. Verse 13. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not the Most High. Do you understand now? So basically what he's saying there is the wicked can continue to do the wicked things that they do, but because they don't fear the Most High, okay, they're going to get it. They're going to get their ass kicked pretty much. Excuse my French. They're going to get it to them in the long days because the Most High, he's slow, but he's going to visit you if you keep bucking up against the system. Now, let's go back now to 1 Peter. And I want to show you guys something. I think this is the right one. Yes. Now, let's start. Because I want to get straight. Nah, we'll just start. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 11. Dearly beloved, this is talking about the Israelites, okay? I beseech you, meaning I beg you, as strangers and pilgrims. Why are we strangers and pilgrims? Because I said earlier in the video that this is not our rest. We're not in the kingdom, okay? So we might as well be strangers and pilgrims on the earth because we're not in our holy land. We're not in our homeland as of right now till Yahweh Shah comes back. But it says here, dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lust, which war against the soul. Okay? Verse 12, having your conversation honest among the Gentiles, that whereas they speak against you as evildoers, they may by your good works, which they shall behold, glorify the Most High in the day of visitation. Now, what is that saying? Basically, Peter is telling the Israelites that abstain away from your fleshly lust. Now, why is he saying abstain away, which war against the soul? Because when you are not walking in the spirit and you're walking in your evil ways, you're fulfilling the lust. Okay, now let's go back to Romans 13 and let's break that down even further of what Peter was talking about. Verse 5. This is Romans chapter 13, verse 5. Wherefore ye must need be subject not only for wrath, but also for conscience sake. Verse 6. For this cause pay ye tribute also, for they are the Most High's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing. Verse 7. Render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. Now, when you read this, okay, when it says tribute and custom, it's not talking about paying tribute like to bow down and all this stuff, or custom to follow their customs and holidays tradition. That's not what it's talking about. It's talking about from a court setting system of paying taxes, levies, and all that stuff. And to prove that, let's just go into the Greek Hebrew words to see what they mean. Okay, tribute.
Strong's G 5411.
Faras.
Faras.
Okay, which means tribute, the annual tax levy upon houses, lands, and person. So like I said, if you own a house, you got to pay mortgage. Okay, that's paying, that's following the ordinances of the Most High, because whoever he's put in charge, that person has set that up in their kingdom. We're not in, this is Esau's kingdom at the moment that we're in. So we have to pay tribute by honoring, paying our mortgage, paying our rent, paying our taxes, and so forth. Okay. Let's look up that word custom.
Strong's G 5056. Tell us.
Tell us.
Tell us.
Okay. Termination, the limit at which a thing ceases to be, always of the end of some act or state. An act or state. Toll, custom, indirect tax on goods. You see? So basically, when you go back and you read that scripture over verse 7, render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. Now you understand it's talking about the things that are done onto that higher power. You must pay tribute to them. Whatever it is that's established in their kingdom, which is a law for you to do, you must do it until it goes against the laws of the Most High. Okay, then that's when you start to analyze. If it, like, give you an example. If they make up a law where you have to go and marry the same gender, where according to the law, um, a man or woman is punishable by death if they are found to be laying with the same sex. This is where you have to discern between the two. Okay, and that's a whole different video for another day. But let's finish this up here. Verse 8. Owe no man anything but to love one another, for he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. So what is the law? Here it is, verse 9. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Thou shalt not covet. And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Now, this right here is a clear cut to the church, because the church says that the laws has been done away with. But here I am reading the New Testament, Romans, the 13th chapter. It just broke down the law. So how can a law be done away with when it just told you don't commit adultery? So men, stop looking at females who are already taken by other men or married. Okay? Thou shalt not kill. If you are upset at your brother or your so-called sister, okay, put away that envy heart of yours and go to them and make up. Okay? Thou shalt not steal. If you see something that you like and you know ain't nobody around you or whatever, and you get the urge to go and just to snatch that, think about who's looking down you on from the Most High. Okay? Just think about that. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Don't sit up there and engage in foolish conversations and go and be a tattletale and trying to set people up. Bear false witness, or if someone comes to you and is using bribery to get you to go against somebody and tell a false lie on them, don't do that. Simple. Just simple little commandments for us to follow. Okay? Thou shalt not covet. What is covet? Meaning that you have to want it. Give you an example. PS5, to you brothers out there, the PS5 is hitting November, right? Now, you have to use discernment. Okay? Are you going to spend $500 to $600 on a system that you really do need? Or can you put that $500 or $600 away for a rainy day for your family? Okay? That's when you covet something. Just because those new J's is coming out this Friday, do you really need it? Instead of you wanting that, you need to have discernment and walk circumspectly about what it is that you're doing. That's what it means to covet, meaning that you pay more attention to getting something that you don't need right now. I'll be the first to be honest. I do have a PS4, but I'm not on it all the time because I have to balance my everyday life. Like the scriptures tell you, roughly paraphrasing, that use the world but don't abuse it. Okay? Use the world but don't abuse it while you're using it. You have to have balance in everything you do. Okay? And then if there be any other commandment, love your neighbor. But when you love your neighbor, you won't do these things. And then you doing so, So, now what does that have to do with following the laws of the land? Well, that's simple. If you do those commandments, you're following the laws of the land. Nothing will happen to you. Right? And last point I want to make, going back on following the higher powers, this is Romans 13, verse 14. But put ye on the Lord Yahweh Shah Mashiach, and make no provisions of the flesh to fulfill the lusts thereof. Because what happens when you make provisions of the flesh? You fall off. You're no longer walking in the spirit, but you're walking in the flesh. Now, if we go to Galatians, where is it? Here it is. If we go to Galatians 5, verse 17, this is where you can find walking in the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things ye would. Okay, but if ye be led by the spirit, ye are not under the law. So what was the law? We just read it in Romans 13:9. Now here, verse 19, it says here, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, we just read that in the law. Fornication, okay, that's when you are worshiping. It can mean two different things. The first thing is when you fornicate, it means from a spiritual sense you are following after other gods rather than the main God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who is Yahweh. The second thing of fornication is when you're sleeping around, doing incest with family members and all that other stuff, right? Uncleanness, lasciviousness, meaning to covet, like we just read in the law, Romans 13:9. When you want something, wantonness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, okay? Emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, verse 21. Envyings, thou shalt not kill, envying your brother, murders, drunkenness, revelings, meaning what do they call it? When you go to parties and they raging and stuff like that, that's what revelings is. Stop going to those parties because there's all type of evil spirits in there, and then it can cause you to get drunk because peer pressure. You see everybody else drinking, and it can cause you to do every other madness under the sun, and such like, of which I tell you before, as I have told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High. Now we're going to finish off in Ecclesiasticus, in the Apocrypha, chapter 1, verse 12. The fear of the Lord maketh a merry heart, and giveth joy and gladness in a long life. A long life. Verse 13, whoso feareth the Most High, the Lord Yahweh, it shall go well with him at the last, and he shall find favor in the day of his death. Now, I wanted to get, verse 20. The root of wisdom is the fear of the Most High, and the branches thereof are long life. The fear of the Lord driveth away sins, and where it is present, it turneth away wrath. So now, when we go back to Romans, the 13th chapter, okay, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. In conclusion to the matter is this: you follow the commandments, nothing will happen to you. Okay? You follow the ordinances of the higher powers, nothing won't happen to you because the Most High is pleased. But if you don't walk in the statutes and commandments, then that's why you now understand when you go around, you see all these police killings and people being kidnapped and jacking stuff. It ain't because, oh, that's just the wrong thing to do and he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. No, I just read to you in Proverbs 20 that a man's goings is not of his own, but of the Most High. The Most High is in control of every single thing. So if that person got kidnapped, if that person got slammed to the ground, if that person got killed by a police officer, whatever the case may be, most likely it was his or her judgment because they wasn't following the laws of the land. Okay? So I think I've covered enough in this lesson breakdown, but I hope you were sincerely edified by this video. Please share, comment, give me your thoughts and everything. And let's continue to exhort ourselves, Yasharala, and build ourselves up because we're almost out of here. All right. Continue to pray, continue to fast, and to ask the Most High to open up your spiritual eyes so that you can gain understanding and wisdom through these scriptures. Okay. Love y'all. Tribe of Judah 144. Shalom, elect, and to the 1/3 out there scattered across the four corners of the earth. Want to give all praise to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah Bashem, Rakakwadash. Until next time, y'all.